I'm just telling them to go to YouTube and log on.
All right, we are live now.
Oh, let me come up out of this. There we go.
Yep.
Sir,
I almost finished all my work for the day. I got a little more to do.
Likewise. Likewise, too. My goodness.
This my tax stuff. All my expenses. Finished all my work for the day. I got a little more to do.
Likewise.
We got a delay.
Yeah, I closed it. I had YouTube opening another window from earlier, so it was delayed. But it is a delay on the live channel. It's like a couple seconds or something.
Are we live?
Yeah, we live.
What up, though, Detroit?
Right. What up, though, Detroit and others?
I'm just telling everybody where to go and log on.
Yeah, we waiting on Marcus. But I guess everybody who is here, we got a couple rules. Respect us. We're gonna respect you. That part doesn't count right now. We are taking donations. We are for-profit entities. So whatever y'all send me to my Cash App, I split amongst everybody. I think that was it.
Yep.
So those are rules. We simple. All right. I know what I can talk about before everybody comes. So a couple church announcements. So we are doing the tour in August of this year. The link is in the comments. The date is, what's the date, Emma?
I don't know what the date is. I didn't know I was secretary. Yeah,
my bad. Oh, August 12th through August 15th of 2020.
I will have my hotels next week.
Say what?
I will have my notes next week.
Thank you. We are doing it's August 12th through August 15th, and that is in Detroit, Michigan. That includes your hotel stay. We do have 9 hotel stay options. There are only, I think it's only 8 or 10 tickets. We keep it small and intimate. Thursday night is the boat tour on Detroit Cycle Tour. Friday we do the east side plus lunch. Saturday we do the west side plus lunch, and then later on that night we meet with a mastermind. I have other people come in and talk as well. Then in June 26th of this year, we are doing an in-person mastermind in Orlando, Florida, and a webinar. So basically, if you attend the mastermind, we are including a couple of freebies. So I'm including all my ebooks and credit card course, as well as consultations within the next 30, 45 days after we meet in case you got your first property or you're looking to invest. Emma is including her title company, Great Title and Escrow, is including a free title search. Must be used in the first 30, 45 days after the tour. So you can't come at Emma like a year later, like, hey, I want to use my freebie. It don't work like that. And Marcus, right. Then Marcus is offering, I think he's offering a copy of his company's lease agreement that he used for his tenants. And that's probably about a good $1,500 worth of stuff right there. So the in-person mastermind ticket is $750. It's only 4 of those. And then that's the early bird special, and then regular price is $1,000. We're only doing 8 tickets, period. So if you attend the mastermind, you get all those great freebies, along with what else we including? Oh, you're gonna eat with us. You're gonna get to keep with us the whole day, basically till we get tired of y'all, and we like y'all gotta go home. Or you ain't gotta go, but you gotta leave.
So you're not stingy with it either. I mean, you get a lot. I mean,
you get a lot. You get we gonna feed you. I don't know if we're gonna do an in-person chef or what. We ain't talked that far yet, but you will be fed. We always feed y'all. Also, if you attend the in-person mastermind, your questions get answered first. So if somebody got a question on the online webinar, they kind of get bumped to the side. Y'all questions get answered first. So it's kind of going to be like a live, intimate, recorded session. So it's going to be pretty dope. And I think the link is in the description for that, but I can post it in the comments too. What up, Rhonda Lee?
Girl, she here at the office in the back room. Quit playing. It don't stop. We've been here since 8, and our last one was at 6. Hour on the hour, both conference rooms.
Oh yeah, y'all working.
Yeah, and now they got me on this go, so I'm like, oh, I got to go get online.
Get it.
Right.
So where else you want me to share at? You want me to go to Facebook or you want me to go to Instagram?
Both is cool.
Okay.
I think that's the link for the event. I just sent it. I just posted it in the comments. So when people ask, like, "Hey, where's the link?"
Are we planning on going anywhere else? I know you already had a couple of trips that you hit and shit. I'm ready to
I don't know yet. This guy hit me up on Detroit Property Shop page today. Oh, there go Marcus. On Detroit Property Shop page today. And he was talking about us coming to do a personal teaching thing.
coming
Like,
where?
I don't know yet. He didn't respond to as and where, but I was like, yeah, we down. We just need a 2 to 4 week heads up.
Yeah, I'm ready to go on and travel again. It's about
We're in
time.
Orlando, so that's one.
It's about time. You looked at flights yet for Florida?
Yeah, you know I got mine. I use my points.
How the hell you gonna get yarn and ain't tell us nothing? That's that bullshit I be talking about.
Cause I'm flying out of Atlanta because I gotta go get my little
Oh,
cousin.
you gotta go get the kid. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. All right, I'll give you that.
And we flying first class because I get to use my free certificate. So we gonna be looking real bougie with a glass of apple juice and ice in a wine glass.
Well, I'll give you that too. That's fine.
That
I got my bougie bubbly. I got my bubbly.
I got my little green drink.
Ponce, I don't know if Asia told you, but this is
Yeah, we be ourselves.
Oh yeah. In fact, she did. In fact, I kind of been having a little fun already.
Yeah.
But I will tell you, I will tell you, this was a matter of me saying, okay, see, you know how it is. I'll sit up here and try to play like I'm basketball. Before you know it, Asia will be like, hold on. Wait, hey.
It's all good. It's all
Hey,
good.
I gave somebody your number. Also, they were looking for a real estate attorney.
Yeah, they've been holding out. They ain't even told me that you existed and shit. I had to find out when I say, who is this on the flyer? What the hell is going on?
Like I said, sometimes I fake like I'm bashful, but I actually just do it kind of the whole time. Because once I get started, it's like, all right.
Yeah, see.
I've been told him we gotta stop doing that shit. Like, you too shy, dog, and you do too much stuff.
And especially if you bring in the knowledge, come on, because we got to share the love and like.
That now sharing is the easy part. I mean, in fact, I've been sometimes accused of saying, shit, you need to get paid for that now. Come on.
Yeah.
That's me.
Yeah. So sharing, it's cool.
Asia, why his face covered up on my screen?
Oh, cause my logo right there. Let me change it. Now my face covered up.
At first, I was doing this. I was like, wait a minute.
No, I see everybody.
Yes, face covered up and shit. Can you move the logo?
No, I just hit somebody up on Fiverr. For y'all don't know, Fiverr is the bee's knees to do a overlay, so it won't be like that. So we just got to use the StreamYard one to the next one.
Jesus, well, cover your face up, not the gas.
My face is covered.
Matter of fact, cover up the man that was late. Come at me today, Marcus. I'm ready, baby.
I see.
Now y'all ain't even there at all. What happened?
Damn shame. There we go.
Dang, now Ponce still can I
there
move
we go,
you?
Right there, just like that. But get Marcus in
Yeah,
the
you can move me up in the corner since I'm eating food.
I don't know how to do that.
Yeah, that's a damn shame.
I don't know if I can do that. Oh, there we go.
There you go.
Yes. There we go. Now, because he was late and shit, he get a 5-minute cover up.
Thank you. I finally got my lunch break after slipping and sliding down 94 and stuff all day.
So what
the road's bad? It's I've been up here so long. I don't know what's going on outside.
Yeah, it's bad when you're doing 80 miles an hour down the freeway.
Come on, man.
Marcus,
yeah,
that big body, you in that big body, y'all. That's what that big body do.
Yeah, but that wall is better than my.
I see you.
Oh, I gotta go live on the ground. All right, y'all. I guess, do Marcus, you need some more time, or we can get started?
I'll go ahead and get started. I mean, this is us. I'm eating my food. We about to do this.
I see you.
Y'all like my wood paneling in my record office got wood paneling in here.
Right, you back in 1980, ain't you?
You got to take it down, pull the nails and shit. That's how my daddy taught me. I'm just saying. I didn't make it to the red room today, y'all. I was like, I'm gonna just go and keep it on 4 road. Can't slip and slide to the red room today. So I don't have my butler.
Who got a butler? Please.
As y'all would put it, I don't have my butler with me today. So what's the latest and the greatest going on in the real estate industry since the last time we connected?
On the commercial side, you're starting to see, and you guys probably saw it as well, but a lot of subleases now for commercial property, right?
Oh,
And
really?
so, yeah, oh yes. So the folks who, for whatever reason, well, not whatever reason, but those that are now working not in the offices, but are still responsible for those leases, are subleasing those if allowed in their contract. And so those vacancies could be some variable of what's going on, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So that's one of the things. So for those that want some type of brick and mortar, then what would that do? Because there's a lot of it, right? Ideally, the prices should be going down on the lease, ideally.
Yeah.
And then for those that are stuck with that darn lease,
Okay.
like a client of mine that literally entered into a 3-year commercial lease February 2020, and you know what happened in March.
Right.
So, so some of those options are, pay it, try to get out of it. And in this particular case, I don't think there's a sublease provision, but at least ask the folks.
They're right there.
Right.
So that's
I mean,
one of the
even
things.
if it's not a sublease provision, I mean, are we gonna have the sublease police come out and say, "Oh, you're subleasing"? We're gonna call the agreement. You know what I'm saying?
To your point, though, right? There's one thing that even if you do have something, and I've shared this with clients before, but it depends on what the other side has if they're going to enforce it. If they got the moxie, the time, the energy, the money,
Exactly.
you know what I mean? So yeah, hypothetically, it's there, and then, but what can you execute depending on which side you're on?
Right. Yeah. I mean, shit. From our end, the only thing we've been seeing a high as we talked about last time we was on here. I mean, fraud is on the rise. All of a sudden we seeing these deeds, from 2-3 years ago that was, they were signed, but they were never recorded. Were they really signed? Did they really exist? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And especially with the recording gap right now, I mean, it's a huge risk for us because it's just a lot of stuff that we can't see. So we going in blindly like, ooh, I hope it ain't nothing out there.
Yeah.
Record it. We'll deal with it on the shakeout,
Yeah.
So there's a lot more scrutiny with unrecorded documents, uninsured documents, if you will. Grandma had to deed up under her mattress, that type of shit. And then they get mad when we like, well, this deed is from 2019. We're in 2021. You just now talking about recording it. Where's your uncle at? Oh, he deceased. Deceased twin,
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
but on the
Y'all know what
flip
else
side,
I heard? Oh, go ahead.
On the flip
No, go
side,
ahead.
the financing end is good. Lending is good. I
Mhm.
mean, loans are closing left and right, man. I mean, every time you look up, it's a clear to close. So, I mean, that's a good thing within itself, I guess, for the buyers and the sellers. But on the investment side is where you're still seeing a lot of the fraud and the mysterious deeds and other things that are popping up.
Well,
Go ahead, Ponce.
Yeah, I was wondering, to your point, one of the things I have my clients or potential clients do is, frankly, I send them to folks like you first, right? Before we even get started. I says, make that what I think is a small investment in your due diligence. Go ahead and get that title search, as if it could be insurable, number one, or whatever you want to do it. And you'll be able to see, at least at that point, what I call ground truth, no matter what your mouth said or what happened, all that stuff. This is what we're dealing with, so we can then have some idea how to go about approaching.
Oh yeah. I mean, you are one of a few that that send them our way. Because,
straight up.
Or we send them back your way. It's been a couple of deals this week where I'm like, you got some things on your title that I can't help you with, and they quick to say, well, you're the title company. Yeah, I'm the title company, but I'm not an attorney.
So, Ponce, are you doing quiet titles?
Yes.
Oh, you do?
Perfect.
Yep.
See, look at this shit. You see, I'm salty with Marcus and in Asia right now. I'm gonna take it off air and talk to them about it. It's
What we do?
What
gonna
I do?
be one of them conversations where your mama say, when we get home, we got a lot to talk about.
Well, if you participate every now and then,
See, y'all.
matter of fact, if you would have made it to our tour on the boat, you would have known.
And if you want to keep standing KK up for the video, we can post it and everything.
Came for me again. But y'all been holding out on this man, right? See what I'm saying? That's what I be talking about. That's that bullshit.
But it all comes together, right? It all
Exactly.
comes
Exactly.
I tell them, you know, even if I'm, you know, frankly doing, you know, trying to get a sense of they, you know, about that play, or they really want to, you know, do the deal. I said, first and foremost, hit that title company.
Exactly.
You know, here it is, and this is what you see. And
He
then
said
from
that
there,
play out.
that's right. Dig it. Dig it.
No, but you 100% right, because I got a couple of deals right now where I'm like, you need to talk to your attorney. But you know, the guys are like, but you the title company, but I'm not the attorney, and you got a $750,000 levy. I need you to go talk to the attorney because you got your levy, you got your IRS lien, and you got your mortgage. I don't know who want to get paid first.
That's right.
All I know is I need paid.
I know who ain't getting paid first. That seller.
You're not right, but you know they don't hear us.
Y'all know what else done went up high as hell since COVID? Insurance.
Has it?
House insurance?
Yeah, like so, you know, I just closed on Balfour. Shout out to Marcus and you, Emma, for that.
Congratulations.
So I just tried to get this fire protection. They talking about $6,000. I'm like, the house was $7,200.
Did you call Menu or you went somewhere else?
Well, I went through Allstate to go through Michigan Basic. So they like 6,000 or something. I'm like, dog, the house is only $7,200.
Michigan Basic is not the one like
no, they're not the one for that type of shit.
Yeah, not no more.
You need to call
I called her Monday, but I also reached out my general liability company because I can get builder's risk, you know, as a GC, and that's usually cheaper, and it include fire, theft, everything.
Okay.
I'm just gonna get like 9 months worth of coverage, and then I'll be straight.
Yeah, do that. Or I see many talking about that shit all the time. That short term coverage for what you're trying to do.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get that because I'm probably as soon as I get that Winnebago out the driveway, I'm starting.
The who out the what?
I saw that bad boy.
Yeah, I was trying to decipher what the plate said. I'm like,
I saw that.
I'm usually good at that, but I couldn't figure it out.
I was just trying to see what's gonna come running out of it. I was like,
yeah, I just gotta go out there and get pictures of it. But my boy got a tow company. He was like, oh, I just haul it away for you for nothing. So if I can't sell it, I'm like, hey, get it. He's like, you care about that gate? I'm like, take the fucking fence with it. I don't care.
Oh, dog. So you gonna fix this one up and flip it?
Yeah, this is gonna be my first retail flip, so I'm excited.
Okay. Cool.
Oh, you going hard like that?
Yep. Because Marcus and Charles Ryan, shout out to Charles, he said the low end comps is 160 and I could probably get 225. So I'm going for 225. If I do 225, my profit gonna be about 100,000.
Okay, so
what's your new thing? Your new thing, Asia, designed by Asia. What's the other?
Oh, Disson did it.
Oh, Disson did it.
Okay.
Somebody had said it in the comments. I was like, I like that.
What the hell? All I'm gonna say is when you come to me talking about full title, can I get my sworns and waivers, please? Don't play with me talking about you went from 7,200 to fucking 185,000 and I have 0 sworns and waivers. I'm gonna have an attitude.
My bad. Well, you know, we be deducting. I deducted your fee, Marcus fee.
Yeah, that's right. I hear you.
Taxes. That water bill is about $3 I'm like, I didn't run the water up. Why would I pay that?
What's the previous tax foreclosure though?
I don't remember, but whatever the water was, I wasn't pay. Well, I'm gonna pay it at closing when I sell it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I'm gonna pay it before then.
If you start disputing it now, you might be able to get some down before closing because it's gonna take a minute for you to do your thing.
The water was like $2,800.
Yeah, the water was like $3.
So that's what I'm saying. Go ahead and put a dispute in. I mean, what the hell is gonna hurt? You ain't got number time on your hand.
Yeah, facts. I think I'm gonna do that because I do got to get the water turned down. Because I'm gonna have to pay some of it anyway, get the water turned down.
Right, but
yeah, just get into a payment arrangement. They probably take like 10%.
I mean, anything is worth it. You ain't got shit but time. You working on it right now. So if you start that right now, that get them a whole 9 months for the people that work from home to figure out how much they're gonna write off. I'm just saying.
All right, well, we gotta talk about that so I can learn how to do that.
Yeah, me too.
Emma, do you see folks in Highland Park doing just that? Exactly what you just did, since everything was kind of fluxed over there with that water.
Man, we can't even get in touch with Highland Park.
Yeah.
Nobody. It's only one person.
Like I said, if you're on the other side of that, you got time. I know this one's not in Highland Park, but I'm just saying.
Now, I mean, Detroit, I see that, but the problem where things lie at, and it's probably the same way in Highland Park, because one, and I'm a big advocate of, you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
One, people don't know that this is what they could or should be doing.
Yeah.
And or two, when they find out, by the time they find out they got a hot buyer, they trying to move it, and they don't want to wait.
Sure.
These type of and you know, these write-offs and these adjustments and these investigations, they don't happen overnight. You know what I'm saying? This is the type of shit when you pick the property up, you should start your paperwork for that. But because they don't know, sometimes they get stuck having to pay those bills. So I mean, for Highland Park, we've seen some write-offs, but not a lot because folks are just not proactive. Highland Park, Inkster, Detroit, what else, Shanta? Oak Park?
As far as what?
What about Hamtramck?
With water.
Problem with water, not Oak Park.
Highland Park, Inkster.
Inkster.
Oh, shout out to Shanta. She's sitting over here too with her bubble.
Hey, Shanta.
Definitely always Detroit.
That's about the 3 or 4.
What about Hamtramck? Because Hamtramck popping. I seen the house
No,
that
dog.
for like
Hamtramck got they shit on auto read so tight. They say, we see where a property transfer affidavit's been filed or a deed has been filed, but you haven't switched your water over. Oh, Hamtramck got that shit on auto read quick.
Wow.
Oh yeah, they on point. I have no gripes with Hamtramck. Our problems again come in Inkster, Highland Park, Detroit. Yeah.
Okay.
Those are our challenges.
Asia, when you said Highland Park is popping, even the zip code, I don't know if you remember exactly what it is, but the zip code, not Highland Park, but Hamtramck, the sections of the city that are just close, like 6 Mile, and a lot of folks, because everything was popping in Highland Park, in Hamtramck, a lot of those folks are being priced out a little bit, and they going right over on the Detroit side.
Yeah.
Going 6 Mile, over in that area.
Yeah.
On Elliott, they coming right on over. And they have that same purpose
over there on Albany.
Yeah, Hamtramck popping right now. I seen the house at 126. I'm like 1,000.
Hey.
Yeah.
Like,
hey, and they
I saw a duplex. It was a wooden duplex, 2 up, 2 down, about 4 years ago for $76,000, and it was a mortgage FHA and it appraised.
I had a pretty interesting something happened to me. I thought I was on 60 Minutes for a minute there. It was like cash deal. I was like, yeah, cash, no problem. Man, they opened up that shoebox. I was like, stop. Whoa. Yeah, they was ready to do it right there.
They're the best one.
It sure is.
I know it's the best ones, but I'm telling you, it was something about it. I was like, hey, are we good? Let's go ahead. We need to certify.
Let me get my money counted.
Do you know how many people walked in our office during COVID from July to like August with bags of cash?
Really?
We're Chase is right that way.
Yeah.
Bank of America's, I can't go do that.
That's exactly what they told me. I was like,
no.
Listen, I'm making sure cameras ain't around looking at me. I was like, no.
I mean, as long as you give them a receipt, I don't see the problem.
Well, here's the deal. I wanted to make sure that I didn't have to use that marker and go through all them hundreds to make sure I was getting real hundreds too.
And see, for us, we can't even do that because everything we do, we have to be able to have a paper trail.
I mean, this one right here, when I keep my office.
Close out the marker. No. So we like, look.
That's because I used to work at the bank.
Y'all switching out. We gonna change the statements. You got $69,999 debit credit. Y'all do that out there. Come on back in, and we're gonna sign and notarize.
I hear you. Oh yeah.
You can take the cash.
I got you. I mean, believe me.
She said somebody came in last week with cash.
I was like, sir.
And I ain't talking about a little cat. Well,
right? No, little.
Hey.
No, the whole kid and caboodle.
She said the whole kid and caboodle.
Yeah.
No.
Like I can't fake that at all.
All right, well, I guess we can get rolling. So, Ponce, what's going on with evictions and squatter rights other than it's cold and this the time they want to come up in there and make a fire so they can stay warm?
Yeah.
Stay forever without paying.
Yeah, that too. Well, in general, again, I'll do my disclaimer. Everybody's situation is different. This information I'm getting is not legal advice, and it does not form an attorney-client relationship. It's in general, because of where we are with COVID, the CDC just extended to March 31st. The COVID, I'll just call it the COVID thing that protects tenants or residents in a house. So that's what's going on there. Essentially, the way to summarize that is, Michigan has always been, I'll even do pre-COVID, always been what they would call a tenant-friendly state, right?
Mhm.
There are a lot of rights of having not ownership, but an interest in possession of a property, right? And so what I generally find myself doing is kind of just being pragmatic about it. Remember how we do our due diligence and we capture things in numbers and cents, right? And
Right.
so sometimes I ask some of the clients, it's like, you might want to ask them, especially, well, a couple of things. Number one, do you really want them to leave? Because the hood might come up in there real quick, right?
Yes.
You might want to mitigate that by just having them in there and maybe give them a credit or something like that. Number two, if you do want them to leave, people remember cash for keys, that concept. They don't have to break your bank, but, cash for keys, which probably represent a down payment they're going to do somewhere else if they want to work that way with it. And so those are folks that have failed. They held over. They failed to stop paying rent for whatever reason. They probably don't even qualify under some of, at least in Detroit, some of the provisions for rental assistance under COVID. And you just got to kind of finesse. And we all know this, right? When we're talking to our clients from various perspectives, finessing how to regain legal possession of our premises. And I underscore that, how you regain legal possession. You cannot do self
Show them over and set you out.
That's right, self-help and all that kind of stuff. Changing locks, turning off lights, turning off water. You can't do that. And if those folks are pretty savvy, and they say, for instance, if the tenants then came to somebody like me, I'm like, oh, especially if you collectible, then there's some remedies for some of that constructive eviction, as they call it, like cutting that stuff off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. As far as squatters is concerned, I know y'all kind of remember. I remember, especially like Plymouth or Twyman and Joy Road back in the 80s and the 90s. Here, the squatters, the people kind of get in there, really kind of clean up a little bit, at least make it decent, and then live there as if it's theirs.
Yeah.
Right. And think about this theory like this, and it's more of a fiction, but think about it. I think most folks would rather have somebody, as long as they weren't tripping, but rather have somebody in a house, right, that's going to set out, keep it clean or whatever it is, and claim it as their own home in some respects, even if it ain't theirs, than have a house where everybody doing all kinds of things in. And so that's kind of like the mindset behind squatting, believe it or not, how a person, if there's what I call an absent landlord, I won't get into all the details, we're going to keep it high and light. There's an absent landlord that's not taking care of business there, how a squatter can obtain title or ownership to that property, that residential property. And so, in summary, for now anyways, that there are obviously ways that a person can make a claim. And I'm sure my colleague here with the title company understands how that goes, adverse possession and things like that. But also on the eviction side, you just got to understand, at least in Michigan anyways, in Michigan, it's tenant friendly, and it's always best to go through not best, but go through that process of regaining possession of your home, your property that you own.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
That may seem simple, but we out here, we know how it goes. And, either my thing is that you do it up front, or because if not, you're going to find yourself on the other end with a whole lot going on, right? With a whole lot going on. And you also disclose too. Some people will still buy that property subject to the people that are in there and their possession rights, or the lease, or whatever it is that's going on there. So there's no need to do that. I mean, I've seen some stuff on the other side, but that's the overview for now.
Yeah, we just had it's funny that you say that, because we just had a unique case, and what people don't understand is they think overlapping with what Ponce is saying, they think title insurance covers everything. And
right.
one of the key things that you have to think about is what's in your purchase agreement. When it comes to you guys telling us to prorate for rents and securities, you're telling us that it's someone other than the owner that has possession of that property. So when we send your policy out, we're going to take an exception to that. We can't give you coverage over something that someone else has possession of the property of. And we just had a case here that made it to our legal side. Our buyer purchased the property. On the purchase agreement, it clearly stated that it was a tenant, a non-performing tenant in the house.
Yep.
A non-performing tenant ain't
Sure.
shit, basically.
Right. Right.
But the buyer opted to go ahead and buy the property anyway. So for us, we left an exception on the policy for tenants and other folks in possession. Well, a few months after COVID, or shortly thereafter, the tenant now became a squatter because they're not paying, they won't leave, they won't cooperate, they trash in the house.
Yeah.
So the first thing that our insured purchaser does is reach out to us saying, we want to file a claim. File a claim for what?
Yeah.
How you filing a claim? You purchased this property knowing that it was
subject to all of that.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Yeah.
you purchased it knowing that it was a non-paying tenant. So you have that exception on your policy. So his rebuttal was, but I asked for a policy with no exceptions. But then you should have gotten that tenant out,
Right.
So long story short, he ended up having to take it to court. It worked out in the end because I guess the courts, they awarded in his favor because we got an email saying that it worked out. But my point to that is, again, and from an attorney standpoint, you have to be careful what you put in your contract because it can contradict the type of coverage that you're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
And when you knowingly going into a situation, you knew you was going into this with a non-performing tenant. So that was already a squatter when you bought it.
Dig
Thanks.
Yep.
So that was like our first one with that type of situation. That was our first potential claim, which it wouldn't have been a claim had we had to take it to underwriting, but we don't deny anyone. File a claim. Let's see what they say. But at the end of the day, we're looking like this is not going to go far because you know how you bought it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But what about people who be buying houses and, they come up with a fake lease, fake all this, and because that done happen a couple times.
That happens all the time.
That happens a lot. Especially when you deal with but the thing is, it's like 50-50 is fake, and the other 50 is that it's real, especially if it's like an older seller, because they taking cash payments and writing receipt on a napkin.
You don't know.
Right.
So it's like you don't know, so it's like a 50-50 chance.
But that's a twofold. I mean, I can't speak for how something like that would turn out in court because that's on our attorney on the line.
Right.
But from our standpoint, we don't insure liens that aren't recorded. So, or interest is not recorded. So if you want coverage over something, it has to be something that's recorded. So, you're getting payments, you're doing all this, but you don't have anything of record, then you really don't have coverage on that on your policy, or you really don't have a claim to file because it's not a recorded lien.
Did y'all record my deed?
That's another conversation that Mama gonna have to have with you folks.
I'm like, is my deed recorded? I'm about to start Monday.
Talk to your brother about that. Talk to me. I spoke last.
Junior examiner here. How can I help you?
Right. No, you good. But junior examiner DTE over there? Yeah. I'm just saying.
But when you talk about those, it was, again, I'm not naive, but it was remarkable when I saw a quiet title action. Frankly, it's just but the deeds were, I won't even call it. Well, they were so darn good. But the way I caught it is I looked at the notary and went to the Michigan Secretary of State.
Listen.
I was like, no.
Yep.
All of this. So again, to your point, when sometimes they just don't know, that's why we're here to, frankly, walk them through that for a fee. But, that's the cost of doing business. And it's little things like that. Remember, I just gave out a great one right there, free. There it is. I can go look at publicly and see if this notary is even in Michigan anyway. Well, I probably can do it in most states, but I know in Michigan, that's where I looked at real quick. And I looked, and it was dang sure a fraudulent deed, a fraudulent transfer. Luckily, the person did have coverage, but what the title company did, because the numbers pretty much were close, they just cashed out. And then they had to take a separate. The client had to take a separate action to then quiet title to all of that other stuff that's out there, so they can then come to you and say, "Is this a warranty deed now? Are all things now extinguished?"
Oh wow, that's a good one because we see the fraudulent deeds all the time. And to add to what you're saying, we do run to the notary sites because it's the same in Michigan and all the other states. Okay. Our information as notaries and our commission is public information, so you can go to any state to get it. But the other thing that you guys look at too, or what we look at and what you should want to look for is if it's older people that had the property for a while, go look and see when they passed away. Because a lot of time when you got those as drafting deeds, they don't put 2 and 2 together. When this person passed, the date that you setting up for your day-to-day signature, and the notary. because sometimes with the notaries, they may have lost their stamp. So it could be a valid notary.
Right.
But the notary may have perhaps lost their stamp or someone stole it, because I had that happen to me. So now you got somebody out here stamping like a mug.
Wow.
Because we lost our notary.
So you got to report that to the police, right? If you lose your notary.
I mean, but it ain't what the police gonna do. It's just your notary. You know, it's one of those where somebody, if you're doing your due diligence like us, and we question it, we question uninsured deeds. So, and this is how we've caught. What are we in? March? No, shit. We're in February. From before Christmas to now, and I think I told you guys this last time, we probably caught about 4 or 5 fraudulent deeds, because what we do is, if it's any deed in a transaction, a quitclaim deed for sure, that was not drafted by an attorney or had there wasn't a title company involved, we're going to question the validity of it by saying that deed needs to be re-executed. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it was within 6 months. If it was a deed with an LLC, we may even go back a year if it don't look right. But if it's within 6 months and it wasn't with the title company, or it wasn't with an attorney, we're going to say, in order for us to move forward on your deal, that deed needs to be re-executed, or you need to put us in contact with the grantor. We need to talk to them on the phone. We need to ask some questions. You'll be surprised how many deals have fell off. The first thing they do is, when we say that, they get mad at us. Who are you?
Yeah.
You take him in. Oh, you want me to close you, though. You know? But with doing that, you get the story of, oh, well, you know what? That was my uncle. He dead now. Well, when did your uncle die? It was just, okay, so you know what? You don't even have to tell me. Let me go to my records.
Yep.
So now you didn't open me up looking to see when uncle passed away. You know, uncle passed away before this deed was even dated. You fucked it up right there.
Yep.
Or we look at the notary. The notary commission expired. They never recommissioned. So it's fucked up right there. Or we look at one and we call the notary, and the notary say, no, I didn't sign that. I lost my stamp. And there's been a few people using it. So it's a few ways that you can call them out, but it's every title company is different. I can't speak for the next title company. I can only speak for what we do and what has allowed us to protect our future buyers. It has allowed us to decrease our claims, because if it don't feel right, and you know what you know, and in your gut, if it don't feel right, you follow your first mind. Thanks. You know, when they come to you rushing, talking about, I need to hurry up and close.
Right. Yeah.
I gotta hurry up and close.
Yeah, there's no such thing in my mind as a legal emergency. Not like that.
That part. I like him. Y'all literally been keeping him away from me.
Yeah, we're gonna walk this thing straight down. And
I thought you knew Ponce, my bad.
Clearly, I didn't know Ponce.
But you know what?
Ponce.
Hey, how's it going? I just last year, and just my nose knows, I saw the same thing, double checked the probate site, and was like, well, how did this individual sign a deed and they was already dead?
That part right there.
Don't you love that one? Like,
man, I was like, mate.
That part, they do it
just like magic. It's magic.
Especially right now, it's so unfortunate, and it's unfortunate, and I can't say it enough, with COVID setting in and us losing so many people in our lives.
Yeah.
But you have so many people that have played on that.
Yeah.
And it popped up with these damn deeds.
Yeah.
And they sent them up in here, and I'm like, that's not going to work.
Ponce, do you do living wills and like trust sets?
In fact, yes, perfect segue. Especially for what I call my clients, right? It's not a whole lot of work. Simple wills, statutory wills based on the state of Michigan, laws. Estate plan, estates, yes, done a few of those, and yeah, we're gonna wrap. We spoke, and so each like I said, situation a little bit different, but then there's always a commonality, and again, I'm speaking of my philosophy of things, for the kind of small time, if you can. I used to call. Let me tell you what I used to do. I was ahead of my time, I guess. I sit around. I usually do it between Christmas and right after the New Year. I literally go get a bucket of chicken with my family. We sit around. I go, okay, what happened? What?
Is it Popeye's chicken?
Yeah.
No, it was churches. If you don't have churches, talk to your family.
No, that's Emma, because she grew up on McGraw. That's they ate churches.
You gotta get Popeye's chicken. No, you got to get Popeyes chicken and biscuits,
Hey,
and then
and
you
we
got to
just
go.
rap and a big old red pop with some burners,
Yup.
and then just do it, and then just so as it relates to property and real property. Let's talk about those. Then that's the preventative measure. As folks are being right now, thanks to you in this presentation, of being at least becoming aware of some of the things because they don't know what they don't know, right? But we find because of what's been going on, we find folks on the other side of that. And there's no malintent, right? We just find this is where it is. To your point, Emma, Grandma has lived here for 60 years off Cadillac Boulevard, a really nice place.
That's
And,
my hood.
hey, there it is. And as you know what? Hey, in your hood, I drive up the street and sometimes say, "Don't let this house go. Don't let this house go." Hey, I said, the river is right down there. I'm trying to.
A lot of that coming over there. So a lot of this coming over there.
No, I tell them, I'm for real. I said, you better turn in some bottles, do something. Do not let this house go. Yeah, so anyway, but then there's a method to the madness here in Michigan, a relatively simple way, and that's through probate, right? And then when you go through probate, now you're armed with most likely with the information that you need. So when you then go to Emma, right, there's a chain established there. Ideally, there's a chain established there. It meets all the scrutiny, and in most cases, it's not so long relative to what it is you're trying to do. Again, you just knock out a whole bunch of that crap. And then with a lot of folks, unfortunately, we're relatively young, and guess what? They got 4 or 5 houses, right? Rental properties. They got 4 or 5 investment properties, and those investment properties wasn't even in. Those investment properties may be in LLC name, or it may just be in their name. Or as I saw, old gangster, bless his soul, he was putting them in his grandkids' names, and they ain't know that they was in their name, right?
Oh wow!
So you had people popping up, like, "Daddy said that's mine." I'm like, well, this paper right here that's recorded say it's June bugs.
Yeah.
So So we do clay law. Yeah, we do. And here's the deal: if it's something, because we don't play, and then that's what you've heard about all 4 of us right now, how we get down. If it's something that we either can't do or we find that may be beyond the scope of what we do, we have a network of people that know how to address those things, the tax implications that come out of that. Capital gains, because once that bad boy uncapped, all those types of things, right? Those taxes. Like, what you mean my taxes were? Well, because she had it for 50 years. Now you just did that affidavit, that thing uncapped, and they reassessed it, and they get down because it is.
That is one thing that I tell my clients who are buying, is that, especially if it's a house that's been owned by an older person, like, once you buy it, it's the new value. And they're like, well, how do they know? Well, number 1, your deed. Number 2, your property transfer affidavit. Like, it's going to change.
What if you don't do the property transfer affidavit and just keep paying the taxes in the other person's name?
They're going to catch up to you.
Well, it depends on what city, because most cities outside of Detroit again, they track that shit and they gonna put it on the tax roll. And believe it or not, we've seen it with some properties, and it's a hit or a miss with Detroit, because you would think if they're doing it on some, they will be doing it on all. And I think it's more so the commercial, because I don't know if you guys realize this or not. With how the property transfer affidavit says you have no more than 45 days from your closing date to file your affidavit. Now remember, back in the day, it used to be anything after the 45th day was a $5 per day.
Yeah.
Up to
like $200 something. Somewhere through there. Yeah.
So it was across the board.
Right.
Well, a few years ago they changed that shit.
Okay.
For commercial, anything after the 45th day, it's $50 per day up to $1,000.
Yep.
And a lot of folks don't realize that.
Right.
And they kept residential the same. Now there are some parts, and it's weird because, like I said, sometimes we'll see on the bill where they've transferred that filing fee because the deed has been recorded, and they put that fee on the tax bill for Detroit. And then in some cases they don't. But almost all the other cities and counties, if you don't file your property transfer affidavit and that deed is recorded, when you get that tax bill, your winter bill, that $200 is on there.
Okay.
They're gonna get their bread.
So it's definitely probably on mine.
In Detroit, I found that it's mostly, again, in the popular zip codes that they keep track of all
and
this.
perhaps commercial too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of folks that still don't file, and right now, they can take advantage of that because we're in COVID and everything's a little bit behind. But the other thing on the flip side of that, what we're seeing now is a lot of reassessments, or not necessarily reassessments, but reversals of homesteads that were claimed. And I'm sure you can speak to this, Marcus, where they folks were claiming homestead, but it wasn't their primary residence.
Yeah.
Or it was in an LLC, but they never had it removed.
Yep.
And and the homestead and those credits, people think those type of homestead credits or those reductions in the taxes come from a city level, but they don't. They come from the state level.
Okay.
Those are reductions that you're getting when you file homestead. That's an additional tax abatement reduction, 35% or whatever it is. My math may not be right, but you're getting that from the state level. So that's money that the state is giving credit, and so it's coming away from revenue for the city. And when they find out that you've been filing homestead unlawfully, because you have to give your social security number in order to get the homestead. And when the state cross-reference that social, and
Right.
they see that you live in West Bloomfield,
Yeah.
but you filing homestead in the D or whatever somewhere else, it may not happen right away, but it's going to happen where they're gonna put those whatever credits you got for whatever them years were back on the tax roll. And when we go over as a title company and say, this was a bona fide sale, you can't penalize the new buyer. You got to go after the old owner. They're gonna run your social. And the state is going to come after you. So there go them state taxes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And people don't understand that. They think they're getting away with shit, but they're not.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Crazy.
And that a lot of times the things that you're sharing right now, you telling them up front, right? When you're again, it's not a gotcha. It's just making sure and understanding, no matter what your thought process, the other person's thought processes are, that we're still going to make sure our stuff is good to go. See, a lot of people get it confused, right? They get it twisted because we're good at what we do. I'll say it. That they think that we're cutting corners. No, we're not. You're not going to watch this. I ain't worth 50 cents or that quick dollar, right?
Yeah.
You take care of business. And then sometimes they have the nerve, and I've been on the phone before. I was like, don't be saying nothing like this to me on the phone. What are you talking about? And what it is you do out there is what you do. But I'm not going to be, co-signing none of that stuff.
What I love most is when they go out, they're like, "Oh, you crazy, you too expensive, you this," and then they come right on back, and they're like, "Oh, well, I did it, but it's not working out for me." Oh, really?
Okay.
but I got one better for you. Most folks are like kids. They hear what they want to hear.
That's
right.
true.
Do you know actually have to repeat back to me? Do you know actually do that? I said, now tell me what you heard. And they kind of, again, they get a little irritated.
They just don't want to hear it. I'm telling you the right way to do it, but because it's going to cost you a little bit more and it's going to take a little bit longer, but you got Johnny over here telling you, no, dog, just do this, this, and this, and you got to get your bread real quick.
Go for
You're
it.
going to run to Johnny.
That's right.
So
That's right.
Why did you call me?
Hey, I explain my services. I don't explain my fees. I will explain my services.
Can we go back to probate for a minute? Because I got a lot of people that get scared of probate.
Okay.
Correct me if I'm wrong. You'll hear me say that a lot. Can you do a probate for the real estate only? So just the house instead of including all the other assets and debts.
My initial inclination is no, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
And if there is one, then so be it. We'll find it, right? And then I'll say, something's different. But I'll tell you not why. Because the estate consists of all real and personal property of the deceased.
Okay.
Right? And so, if I were posed with that, then my question would be, why? Right? I mean, why? I would ask them. I says, what's the method of the madness? Why not everything else here? Because it's going to be the same amount of effort. We do this all at once. And heck, I need to take a look and see where it is. But when you sign that thing, you're pretty much saying to the court, even if you're doing it yourself, that you've examined these things, you've done some type of due diligence. This is what it is that you're presenting. So without getting too deep, my initial inclination is no, for that very reason, which is a estate consists of the person that's deceased of their, at the least, their personal property, meaning, guns and furniture and things like that, and their real property, houses, and get this, even their interest in real property.
Okay.
Right? So,
And to add to that, what you also have to think about is if you're going into a probate where it was an existing or an underlying mortgage on there, the creditor like, shit, it's value in this property.
That's right.
I still want to get paid. And there may be other creditors out there, a line of credit, or equity, or other stuff. So, and that's not my area, but I know, when it's value in a house, everybody like, let me get mine.
Yeah.
So if you do something and you're not including all the personal and you're leaving things out, you're leaving room for the creditors to still be able to attack. From my understanding,
Well, your understanding is really consistent because there's even scenarios where a creditor, not the family members of the decedent, can open up a probate to get paid from the decedent's estate.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. So
Right.
And let me add to that and ask you, because what a lot of people don't understand too, and I'm sure you can elaborate. But I'm the only officer of that business. Right. So I'm dead now. Now, don't my estate come into play in order for things to be wrapped up?
Again, hypothetically, that's an interest that decedent now has based on the articles and the bylaws. Again, hypothetically, and so that's an interest now that needs to be resolved, right? Whether it be if say for instance if you loaned your LLC some money. Right? Or for that matter, you loan the LLC some money and the LLC now owes you, right? After 15 years, right? Even though you passed away, it still has to be, adjudicated. So there are some things there. And then of course, not every situation is the same, but some folks that are forward thinking have things in place, whether it be language that protects
within that, right. Which is what we see quite often when we're looking at the operating agreements, or we're looking at the bylaws for a corporation, or we're looking at the partnership agreement. It's normally that language in there that talks about, up on my death, this is how we're going to go about dissolving, blah blah blah. So
Now there's a question, Asian. How does a tenant become a squatter, and where's the legal line? Again, where's the legal line? You can contact Clay Law or any other licensed attorney, competent licensed attorney for that. But, the definition of a tenant generally is someone will use this a rental property who has consent. It's a formed agreement between the person that's occupying it and the person, and the personal company that owns it. So ideally, those are two different things. The squatter, the property is abandoned, right? And that person does not even have ownership, legal right, or possession, and then they occupy it.
They got their flat screen and their gym shoes in there.
Hey, and they like mail, right?
Can I ask? I know you're explaining it, but I want to interject and put this on the table.
Sure.
I thought if I have a piece of mail come here, I have some rights to it. I'm just saying that's what I was told.
Well, those were I use piece of mail as again, I don't want to go through all the legal mumbo jumbo, but it's saying that I'm here, right? I ain't hiding that I'm here. I'm using this house like a house should be used, and that if the owner, there are a few other things, but if the owner were present or at least keeping tabs on this place, they would know, so they can do what they needed to do to get me out of here. And in the absence of that, if I do that, use that thing, without permission, and I do it for a number of years, a certain amount of time in Michigan, then I can possibly acquire title, ownership outright, and foreclose the other ownership of the quote unquote legal owner.
What, by saying adverse possession?
There it is. That's it.
That's just like when I filed my construction lease. After that 5th year, I can start foreclosing. That's why old girl cashed me out last year.
You don't have to wait the 5th year, sweetie. You can wait. You can start your foreclosure 1 year if you haven't been paid.
Oh, I didn't know that. I bet you I know.
No, I know 5th year. See, because technically how it works with that, and just shifting gears, after 90 days, between 90 and 120 days, you need to go ahead and file your lien if the work's been performed and you haven't been paid.
I filed today.
Which is fine too. You need to get your lien filed, and then you have 1 year from when your lien is filed to perfect that lien by starting your litigation. You don't have to wait 5 years. You're waiting 5 years. You've given time for your lien to expire.
Well, she renews it every year.
On the
within that year, if you feel like you want to start foreclosure, you can do that. That's why it's so important. And it goes back to what I told you on this home that you're putting on the market retail. That's why it's important to have your sworns and waivers showing that everyone's been paid. Because if folks aren't paid within that 90 to 120 days, the contractors or subcontractors file their lien. Within that time frame, they have 1 year from when they file that lien to go ahead and start their litigation actions if they want to do foreclosure. Otherwise, that window has been lost.
Yeah, because that's why I always file within my time frame because I know I got the 90 days.
Yeah, so don't count that 5 year shit though. No, 5 years, because for us, if we don't see, like if we see a lien file and we about to get ready to close on something and we don't see where litigation has been started, a year later, we go over and check the courts and we don't see anything, basically it's expired and we're gonna move past you. Now that doesn't stop you from basically still wanting to try to do your litigation, but under the Lien Act, it's like you had that 1 year to perfect your lien rights.
Sure.
And you didn't do that.
Yeah, that's why I always renew it because I know on the construction side they always told us, we got to renew because if we don't renew once that year is up, then it's expired.
Yeah. But don't wait no 5 years. Shit, just start foreclosure proceedings because construction lien rights trump a mortgage.
True, and she got mad because I went to the hearing for the back tax. I was like, I can just go and pay this $7,500 right now and add it to the lien. And she was like, no, you ain't got to do that. I was like, because I'm here. I can go right up to the county and pay it right downstairs.
I mean, but like on Real Talk, if they don't do it and you perfect your lien by starting litigation going, you ain't got to wait no year. You got to keep renewing it. Just perfect your lien by starting your litigation. It trumps the mortgage.
That's the word.
I know, right? You just gave us
all I'm saying is you done made my job. Let me shut the hell up and pour me.
No, I'm just saying because
because you just gave her ammunition. You just put ammunition in a loaded gun.
Damn it.
You know Asia don't play. You know.
Look, Murphy,
right.
I don't know if that's how guns sound or not, but shit.
So, do you do construction law? Because I got 2 subs. I still got to school. I got 2 years, but I'm trying to start yesterday.
Well, here's the deal. Let's take a look at it. Now, the reason I say that because I'm familiar with what you're talking about because I'm a lot more familiar, but I also stay in my lane, right? So, for instance, if it's a matter after we see your particular situation, I'll take it away from you. Someone who's similarly situated as you, when we see your situation, when we balance everything out, even though we could go the construction law route, we might be able to just go small claim, right? We might be able to go a mediation. We might be able to go another route to achieve the same goals without a lot of the headaches and a lot of the different steps. All of them
make my life easy.
Yep, all of it's still legit and still above board. The reason I respect where you're coming from on the construction law, in order for me to better understand stuff like this, by no means I'm not a builder. That's your space. But I'm learning this stuff so I can at least be able to speak to it and understand where my lane is when I can say, well, I tell you what, let me call this builder and understand how they do business from that perspective. So yeah, we can take a look at it. Especially if it's type thing.
Yeah, when it comes to us, we don't play with those construction liens though, because they can get us in a world of trouble, and it's not always necessarily. She bought me the big orange juice, y'all. Look at this shit right here. It's not always it's not always on a new construction build. It's on a lot of the stuff that we're doing in the city and in the surrounding cities right now, where you picked up a 7200 boy, you said, and now in the area that it's in and what you about to put into it, it's considered almost a new build from where we look at it when we're saying, okay, you bought it for 72. How we title people look at it, we see the deed into you for either QCD with no cost to it, or we see the deed for 72. And now you about to put it on the retail, and we got a purchase agreement and a listing, and it's coming in at 172. I mean, it's a ding ding that you had to have done a ton of repairs, improvements that could constitute a potential lien. Which is why we as the title people say, in a situation such as that, we need to know if this work has been completed within the last 90 to 120 days, and we need a sworn statement. You're your general contractor, sort of work out, but we're going to need all waivers from your subcontractors.
Oh, that's easy. I do that anyway, especially when I do bank jobs or client jobs.
Yeah, you on your shit, but for those that aren't on their shit, and when I say you, I'm talking to our audience, because any of those guys could run out, and if they're disputing what you paid them versus what they felt they should have gotten paid, they can file a lien, and they dispute maybe with you as the general contractor, but now they've just tied the house into it.
Got
You know what I'm saying?
Do you mind?
You always pay with a check so you can show that it was cash, and don't pay with cash or cash app or
and have your contract and your what do you do when you change out the contracts and the price of change orders and shit or whatever?
Oh yeah, change orders.
Yeah. And this whole team, or the folks we see right here, represent, frankly, and I'm speaking again to the audience, for those that may either just interested in this, maybe not as savvy as they think, understand, and you can see how everything connects. You have a licensed broker and realtor that will be able to share with you what's going on out here as you're doing your due diligence. Frankly, when you kind of narrow that down, that you need to hire a licensed residential contractor, one that has a performing business. Part of your due diligence to walk through that thing, pay them, walk through that thing and say, this is what we're looking at. Whereas some people get scared, you say, nah, what residential builder licensed contractors do, such as Asia, look at this, look at this, look at this. Or on the flip side, oh, this looks so cute. And then she puts her hand through the damn thing and it's full of fun. You know what I'm saying? And then, I mean, really, I've seen it. It's like, all right, they made that bad boy up. And then, or in sequence, you say, okay, you're really liking this. You got something from a licensed residential builder. You've already got the insight in the area of from a licensed real estate agent or broker, and then you say, okay, let's go ahead and go and do this pre-title work, right? And so then what happens then, assuming that you're a buyer, then what happens? You're now armed. And it's cost of doing business. It ain't gonna break your bank if you're serious. But now you can then go into that transaction and use various things with leverage. You already know what's happening most times, right? And you've listened to the guidance of the 4 people that are here and the various specific superpowers that we have that we bring to that transaction. And so
what, y'all? I think we should wear capes the next time we do this.
Ooh, that would be fun.
Hey. I tell you, it's worth it.
Now, Ponce, what I need you to do is I need you to talk about, again, the owners must maintain the property and utilities for tenants, even though they're not paying. Can you say that loud for the people in the back?
What? Why we got to do that? I'm just.
This is a conversation I have almost every day.
Yeah, I'll say it loud.
With the pandemic, these owners are like, well, I still got to pay the water if they ain't paying. You still have to do maintenance. You still have to maintain a habitable and safe condition, property living conditions for these tenants, even though they are not actively paying at the moment.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'll say it again. And folks say, why? Well, number one, that tenant, all things being equal, has a possessory right to be there, right? They're there. You let them in, now they may have breached it because they stopped paying, but then there's processes that you have to do to reclaim possession of that. That's number one. Number two, without getting too savvy with it or sexy with it, there are promises and covenants between the two folks, right? As an owner, I promise that I will keep this thing habitable for human living in a certain way and give you peace about it. Like I ain't gonna come walking in your house without giving you 24 hours or 48 hours heads up. And then on the flip side of that, on that contract of paying rent, you have to, unless you all both, as we spoke about, if you both say, I go my way, you go your way, put it in writing, we go about our business. Or if that doesn't work, then we go through the judicial process to retrieve possession of that house. And it's 2 parts. If you don't mind, let me finish that out. So now I've gotten the house. Then there's a similar process now to get the money back that I owed you, right? And so a lot of folks don't, respect that or recognize that. But to your point, assuming that I'm a landlord and I'm doing those things, or it's found that effectively I've broken some of those promises, and I'm being very general in my language, broken some of those promises, or effectively evicted or made it so uncomfortable that the tenants had to leave. Now, those tenants are pretty savvy. They'll come see me, and believe me, there's some remedies that they can have on that own.
Can I
It's probably
ask,
going to cost them about three times as much as what we suffered there.
do they come see you to talk about putting the rent money in escrow? Because we get that call.
What? Please, I never.
Don't do the psh to me.
Well,
Went there with me. But we get that call about 2-3 times a week where they like, first they ain't been paying no rent. Now all of a sudden they decided they want to pay rent, or maybe they was a tenant that was paying rent, but they felt like there was a dispute. The landlord wasn't taking care of something. I can't say who's right or wrong, but they want us to hold money, the rent money in escrow. And we're like, well, that's not what we do. We shouldn't.
Right.
Listen, like I tell my tenants,
You hit me with a listen, Linda? Did you just hit me with a listen, Linda?
Yeah, I did. Listen, Linda. In all the activity centers, grocery stores, and they can do it there at them kiosk machines.
What you mean?
They can put their rent in escrow at the kiosk machines that's in the Norfolk Activity Center and the grocery store.
Really?
If they go pay their light bill, gas bill, water bill, when we go check the water, since the water department won't give us.
Don't go there with that.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
Yes, they can. It is. If you press the button, it says 36th District Court Tenant Escrow, or it's some escrow account. You push it. How much? Put your rent in there. Fill out the information that's on the screen, and you can put the money in the machine. Yes, you can pay it.
Again, just being general, I'm familiar with the district court's escrow account once you've been to court and there's a dispute. And so the court says to put that in escrow until we come back. And if those things have been resolved, then it's released. That may be one of the ways, instead of them going down to the court, obviously they can just go to the.
Oh, so you're thinking that this kiosk and that depository is made for those that have already had the agreement with the courts.
Right. That's what I'm thinking.
Mark is saying no.
It's for disputes. So, for instance, if a tenant has an issue and does not want to pay rent, they will put the money in escrow. Okay, they can put it in escrow because eventually, if the landlord sends them to court, which they will, which you're going to have to, especially if they put it in escrow, in order to get the money out, it would already be there. So, yes, they can visit any kiosk machine and start the account.
Now you got everybody about to go to the kiosk and put their money.
I would prefer. My thing is, it only helps them, and it helps the landlord, because if we win, we get our money. We know it's there. I can say we. The landlord gets their money, and because it's there. It's shown that they made a conscious effort to pay, and that it was just a dispute versus.
I'm going to the kiosk at Foodland up here.
Absolutely.
Push the button to see what it talk about with this escrow.
But let's talk about the other side, like how I got old girl federal tax return.
Yes, please talk about that.
for a lien or for
non-payment of rent.
Oh, well, tell us.
Yeah, so remember the McCormick house, the first flip I did, the first tenant, her and her spiritual partner, or whatever you want to call it, didn't pay the rent. I'm just saying. So I put them out, and then I got an awesome tenant after the fact. So then we went to court. She showed up the first time and didn't show up the second time. So off top, I won judgment.
By default?
Yeah, by default. So I had to repaint the whole house because her kid done wrote Merry Christmas all on the wall in crayon, Happy Birthday, all other type of mess. Like, I got pictures. I think I'm going to post them. And so I charged for all that. So it's almost like 10 grand I'm owed. So last year, I get a check for like almost $1,600. And they was like, we was able to get her part of her tax return. So like this past November, I had to file again, because you got to file every November to get the previous tax return or whatever. So hopefully I should get some money this year for last year, because I know she got unemployment.
So this is based on the judgment that you was awarded by default from her not showing up in court?
Yep. Or even if she would have showed up, I still would have won, because she didn't pay. And it was my fault. Like, for real, that was the first tenant I had, and I did everything Marcus said.
But take us back so we can understand. So you put her in there, she ain't make her payments and shit, and then her kid wrote all on the wall. And
so I get to charge her for repainting the house, fixing whatever she broke.
Damages.
Damages. So then when she moved in, where I messed up was I didn't take the full deposit. I got her ID and stuff later, so I should have got all that off top, because I didn't really know what I was doing, to be honest.
You knew what you was doing to get that state return, but carry on.
I knew enough. I didn't know like all of what markets go into, like. But this was before, like, this was 17 or 18. 17. This was before I really knew markets like we want to click tight like that then. So I did that. She gave me a couple $100 deposit. Like she was a professional tenant. She was one of them. Definitely a professional tenant. So she had 3 names she operated under, like all type of stuff. So I put a claim on all of them. I was like, whoever you show up in court, that's who I'm suing.
So wait, when you say, so it just went over my head, and I don't know if it's because I'm slow sometimes or if it's this go. But you said she was a professional tenant.
Yeah, so a professional tenant, like this is what she do. And I'm the first one who kind of like took it all the way to court because most just be like, oh, just give me the keys back to my property, give me permission.
All about your business.
Oh, so you mean she's a professional tenant as in she didn't got over.
Oh yeah. So when I find out
what she does as a profession.
Yeah.
Right. So I
not only do they do it as a profession, forgive me, Asia, but I've seen them so out cold, they do it timing wise. Right?
Yeah.
They get in around September before the winter.
Yep.
Right before Christmas, they stop. They know maybe in the spring, more or less, depending on the various dates. And then the kids get out of school around May, and then they bounce.
Yep. Professional tenant. So where I messed up too is I didn't have her utilities all in her name the day she moved in. She did it later. Then she reversed the payment, so I had to pay the water and the gas. So I took all that to court. And then I'm able to sue all for that 2+ interest. Now I'm about to go after her spiritual whatever, because we get 10 years. So this going into the 3rd year. So then I found out she like, oh, I'm gonna file bankruptcy. All right, bankruptcy on 2 years, boo. I got 8 more years. Play with it. I got to learn.
You can go to the bankruptcy hearing
as a creditor.
Yeah, you can show up at the hearing as a creditor if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And you think I'm not gonna be there with my company shirt on? Like, what's up, boo? Me again.
As a creditor.
Me again. Like you and all your representatives getting sued. Like who showed up today? Because that's who I'm suing. Because all y'all on the lease, and whichever one gonna stick, that's the one I'm going after.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah, so I messed up on that. I learned a lot. But them next tenants, if you don't have all this in your name this day, you're not moving in. I need all the money first, last, whatever we agreed on deposit. The day on the 6th day, Marcus is sending you a letter. Notice to quit, whatever it's called. On the 11th day,
you mean a letter like what my kids sent me?
Yep, just like that. It don't matter. It's signed in crayon. It's still better.
It's still I'm gonna make sure you serve properly. I email it, I text it, and you get it in the mail. So you ain't gonna say you ain't get it.
Now, one of the things you spoke about, which is worth noting, well, everything you said is worth noting, but also when I advise clients, the ones that just gotta move into this house, not buy it, they just gotta move into this house.
That was her.
Okay, gotcha. You know, and see if I'm on that side, we're gonna do the inspection, right? Inspection sheet, we're gonna send it back to the landlord, we're gonna take pictures if we need to. And to your point, those professionals, I've actually watched the professionals being the tenant, the professional tenant, so if you want to call it renters, didn't even budge. They were in court like this. They didn't budge because they know that the landlord didn't do what they were supposed to do, didn't have stuff together. And when I saw that, they didn't budge. And I remember the judicial officer, in this case, I think it was a judge, said straight to the landlord, counted as the cost of doing a tuition, because you in the industry of doing this, you in the business. Yep. So, because they was asking, again, Michigan is a tenant-friendly state. Right, and this person knew it. She didn't. I'd say it like that. She don't.
We're guilty. The landlord is guilty to proven innocent. So that's why I tell investors when they come to Detroit, make sure you do your rehab right.
Hey, got that right.
That's
the reason why I always do permit.
Yep. Get permit, get your C of O, and get the lead inspection and all that. So then when you go to court, you can show that the house was certified, a licensed person. The work. This not up and all. Y'all want to cut corners and have Pookie Ray Ray and them show up 15 niggas in the truck and then like then y'all get mad when it backfires, because it backfires every time. They call me crying, then they call Marcus crying, telling us I don't know why my tenant ain't paying.
Hey, and the tenant literally ain't sweating. Like, nope.
They're professional. They already done signed a new lease for somewhere else and about to move the next day.
And again, for those of you that are watching this, and again, thanks Asia for having me here. That's the value. Those are those intangible values that we all have, our superpowers. That's what you're going to get. right? It's the stuff. I had a guy calling me from LA the other day, and he's rattling off, and I entertained him for a minute. I said, let me tell you, my value is the information I'm gonna provide you. You can make your own decision. Well, what do you mean? He's popping off all this theory, and so I just softballed him real quick. I gave him 2 cross streets. I said, well, tell me about all them coyotes on X, Y, and Z. Said, what? I said, yeah. I said, just something like that. I did that to kind of just throw him off. But I don't spend a lot of times, if I don't have to, trying to project that type of local information that we know that is valuable in a business decision.
Yeah. Like we're priceless. And I tell people from Detroit, like true Detroiters born and raised here, you are priceless. You know the city, you know where to go, you know what stop signs to run, you know what lights to run, depends on what neighborhood you're like. We know how to communicate and interact with each other. Like I don't really have problems in bad neighborhoods because I go introduce myself to them.
What up, my baby?
Right, y'all want to make some bread today? I need the grass cut. I need the snow shovel. Hey, can y'all watch the house for me? Blah blah. They be like, all right, cool. Like
they'll take ownership. They'll take ownership in protecting your property.
Yeah, they will.
They'll take ownership in protecting your property. They will call you. They even trip. Who is that cutting the grass? That's my grass. I'm supposed to be cutting.
Especially the older clients, I love them elders. They be looking out like, baby, there's somebody on the grass. Who is it, Miss So and So?
That's right. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I'll tell you about it. Or if Junebug decide he want to go ahead and crawling up in your stuff, they know, and then they'll tell it. And this still exists, and they may not put it right back where it was, but you find it behind the garage, right?
Yeah.
Where it got out.
Like Marcus Westbrook, we put a tow truck. All of a sudden, my man come out like, "Oh, them my cars in the back. They about to go right now." Because all this time I've been telling him to move his cars for 7-8 months. We put with the tow truck and the police. Now all of a sudden he gonna get him out the way. I'm like, boy, dog, I'm from here. Don't why are you crying me?
Okay, back to squatters.
Oh,
I'm just saying, how can you remove squatters? Like, I know that a lot of people say, can't you just call the police? Do you know anything about that process?
No, you can call Big Joe and his boys. Quit playing.
Okay. So we're gonna do a hypothetical. We're gonna do a hypothetical, right? And it's really simple, right? I'm the owner, right, of this place. I had it, it's over off Twyman. And I turn around and I see some activity there, right?
What kind of activity?
Okay, you see curtains went up. They probably put a steel gate on there, right? And you see some kind of lights flowing in. How's that?
Okay.
People there, right? Oh, I know there's a big one too in the wintertime. You see all of a sudden that chimney started working.
Oh, yeah.
You're like, golly, that chimney working.
Facts.
So the initial thing, bro, is eviction. Right? To all occupants. Right? That's the initial thing.
So the key word is all occupants.
That's right.
You're not limiting it to a specific individual.
And ideally, I don't know their names anyway. You know how agent said, girl had 4 or 5 names? To all occupants. And starting that process. So we'll put there.
Whoever showing up getting sued.
Right. So you're starting that process there. On a more common level, I know you want to have this answer, but I'm gonna put it like this. Maybe knock, hey, like you said, you talk to folks a certain kind of way. You ain't got to buff up against them because really you as an owner should have known what was going on around there, right? Keeping it enforced and stuff like that. And then if they're not hearing that, then you move on with those eviction procedures. Let me make it clear. What you're not going to do right off the rip, right? What you're not going to do right off the rip, and we had a bad outcome with this. This is very emotional. Remember a couple of years ago at Rosedale Park, folks came over there popping that junk, and some folks had moved up in there, and everybody started shooting. I don't know if you remember that, but I do. It was whack. So the narrow answer to that long question is, if it's folks that are occupying a piece of, and I'm going to keep it to residential right now, that don't supposed to be there, first thing you do is you start off with the eviction process, right? 7-day notice to quit, and then go into those processes. Mm-hmm. Now, I moved to Alaska, and that same house sitting somewhere, and by year 2, folks have moved in, right? It's not yet year 15, which is under the current statute, I believe, but they met all the elements of trying of being there. But up until that point, they're either trespassers because they're not supposed to be there, squatters, right? And if you haven't had an agreement with them, like a lease or month to month or something like that, or even heck, even if you're not paying, but you just stay there, then if in that case, then they're a tenant. And so it's not sexy. You don't do self-help, basically, Marcus. You don't do self-help. And that's the official party line. You don't do self-help. And you try to find a way to regain, legally regain possession of your property.
Now, what I can say, what I've done in the past, and for squatters, is that I have contacted the police.
Mm-hmm.
But with that process, you have to, number one, it's probably 1 to 2 officers that's assigned to the community division in the precinct.
Right.
So you have to get in touch with them, make an appointment, meet with them, and pretty much present your case before they go out to a property to try to assist in removing the squatters or trespassers.
And
but I have had it work because I do keep in contact with each precinct and their community officers. And it actually has worked. They've escorted people out, but that's only if the people cannot establish residency. If it's clearly they're stealing utilities, if they can't provide anything, they usually do escort them out.
Right.
Now, Marcus,
and that is, forgive me, that is the pragmatic approach. One of the pragmatic approaches we talked about, right? We don't have to go ramp hard and be tough about it. But then watch this. Say that happens, and say we got a neighborhood block club, and we don't want, now this thing is wide open. You as the property owner, we're coming to you. Clean this thing up.
Yeah.
Bolt it up. Don't let it become a nuisance. You see how the property owner still has, responsibility of maintaining that place in a manner that doesn't cause a nuisance.
Yeah.
Now my question to that, just going back to the aspect of, you calling the police or whatever, because we have had recently a few of our investors that have purchased some properties and they're trying to get squatters out or whatever. They've called us like, I need my deed, I need my paperwork, because I guess like with anything, you coming in as the owner saying that they squatting in my shit, they coming in saying, nah, this is me. So do you have to have like what paperwork? Just for the audience.
Well, for the audience, what you have to have is, yes, you do have to have your deed, a stamped property transfer affidavit, not your recorded deed. Stamp.
Well, that was pre-COVID because there's no such thing as a recorded deed.
Well, at least a property transfer affidavit.
Somebody asked what I was drinking. The gold.
Oh my God. The property transfer affidavit. If you're using a property manager, like I'm a property manager, so my property management agreement that's signed. Of course, your ID and any other information you can give regarding the property. But here's the secret. You need to, number one, register the property as a vacant unit first with the city of Detroit. Yeah. Because they use the website Loveland. Loveland will give them all the information. I think it's loveland.com.
Take notes, audience. Marcus got jewels today. He didn't tell us about the kiosk. Now he's talking about the register with the Loveland. Take notes.
Give me one second. Okay, so it's makeloveland.com. MAKE loveland.com. So they use that website to basically verify information about properties. So it's a national land parcel database that they use. And I say they,
I remember them when they created.
The city of Detroit or the community officers, that's the data that they use.
Okay.
So if it's not registered as a vacant property, it's pretty much, they'll tell you it's nothing I can really do. They'll go and investigate because you did give them all the other paperwork. But if it's not registered as a vacant property, then that can't give them reason in order for them to remove the squatters out of it because they don't know if they're supposed to be there or not. So my thing is, again, that's why I always recommend and highly recommend to my owners that if it is a vacant structure, that we at least register with the city of Detroit as it being vacant. If it is a rental property, we have to go through the rental registration because in the end, that will help us.
That gives a lot of fighting power when you want in trying to remove.
Absolutely. The thing about it is that all day with my owners, I try to tell them we need to make sure we have the best look possible because, like Asia said, we're including property managers, landlord, we're guilty until we prove ourselves otherwise, you know?
Now, what about insurance and stuff? I mean, how does that work? Because I've heard the stories where folks have said, you know, it was squatters in there. When the squatters left, everything left too. I mean,
That I really can't answer, I'll be honest with you.
I mean, but you do encourage folks to try to have some sort of insurance.
Absolutely, but it's only if they can get a policy, because they still have to, I mean, even though it's vacant or supposedly vacant, you still got to follow those steps of registering the property to protect yourself. I mean, because most insurance companies use some type of database, which is probably the same, that will see at the time when it was insured, and this is just me guessing, that this property was registered as vacant, that would help support your claim that squatters came after this date that it happened. Versus if it was never, if there's no information on there, then, I mean, they probably try to do the best investigation they can do in order to find out if it's true or not regarding squatters, or if it's just arson or whatever.
Right.
Marcus, you also bring up, as we continue to go to this for our audience, remember I said you can't do that self-eviction? Well, here's the distinction. If they are squatters, then it's my responsibility then after they're removed to change locks, to secure it, right? It's just that I can't do that if they're a tenant, right? And there either was an agreement or something like that, and then I'm effectively putting them out without judicial process. So yeah, putting them out without judicial process.
Well, like I tell all my owners, listen, majority of these people are very savvy. If you want bounty hunters and however you want to call it, Ray and them to go and do it, listen, let me terminate my property management agreement with you, and you can go ahead and get whoever you choose off the back page.
Because you don't want your name or your
I don't. At the end of the day, I mean, access to attorneys and or legal counsel is available.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, I'll put it to you like this: the type of person I am, I'll pick up the phone in a minute to see what I got, what can happen. You know, if I'm in that position, what are my rights? You know.
Now I do have a question. I know we all about, you know, our primary focus is Detroit, but I'm curious to know, and this is probably a question for you, Ponce. Evictions in the D versus evictions outside of the D. Is the process the same? Do you see the same volume? Is it easier? I mean, the comparison. Tell us something.
Understood.
Give me some tea. Tea.
Understood. Eviction proper is guided by Michigan law. So of course that applies to all 83 counties or the entire state of Michigan, right? But then of course that eviction process and the speediness of it is the throughput of how many people around, the density, right? I can imagine that if I'm the UP where there's a town of maybe, 10,000, that it probably moves a little bit differently on that court docket than it would down here in Detroit, where we have an excess of 500,000, right, in the city proper. Some district courts have embraced, Detroit is really good. In fact, 36th district has embraced the technology in order to file and do those things. And the people around there, the folks and the staff, they won't give legal advice because they can't. But they dang sure can walk you through that process where, frankly, a landlord who's a non-attorney could just, pretty much walk themselves through it. There are pluses and minuses. There are a lot of pluses and minuses. In some of the quote-unquote smaller places where everybody literally knows everybody, you may find some passive aggressiveness, right? Because they may actually know the person that's down there.
That's my friend. I'm gonna move it a little bit slower.
Hey, that type of thing.
Well, I was really looking. I guess maybe I should have put my question different.
Mm-hmm.
Oakland versus Macomb. I mean, Oakland versus Wayne. Maybe let me put it like that.
I understand.
Little cities out of it where you got the sheriff and the fireman the same person.
Sure, I understand what you're asking. I'm gonna give you the party line. You follow those same instructions and do the same things based on the Michigan statutes, and all things being equal, you should be able to receive the same results.
That's an attorney ass answer.
From a property management standpoint, I've always seen the difference between suburban and city. a huge, I ain't gonna say huge, a significant difference only because most people in the suburban counties, they fight a little bit harder. You know, this is the city. Everybody's income is somewhat median, and it's just it is what it is, and they do what they can do. But out there, I have seen them fight a little bit harder to keep the property in which they have, or at least get more time. And I guess I experienced that more when I was doing mortgages, and especially during the foreclosure time for properties, because I used to sell a lot in the suburban areas because that's where the money was at the time.
Oh, you were a suburban seller.
I was a suburban seller.
I'm coming for you today.
I was a suburban buyer's agent for West Bloomfield, Orchard Lake, Commerce Township, all of those things. I did not touch anything in the city of Detroit.
Okay, West Bloomfield. West Bloomfield.
Fancy.
You got Ronnie back here like West Bloomfield.
That's right.
Marcus, let me ask you this as a property manager. Have you found that, and I think I know the answer to this, have you found that there's been a remarkable increase in enforcement of property ordinances in the city of Detroit?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Remember, the grass used to be up here to your neck, and you wouldn't have an issue now. Literally, if that grass is not good to go, that blight ticket will be right on you, huh?
Listen, the front grass or the backyard.
Okay.
If cars they have enforcement. Listen, for people who are watching, they have enforcement officers now on the streets that drive. That's all they do all day is drive through the neighborhood and look for blight violation. Your trash can is out too late after pickup or out too early before pickup. High grass, debris in the yard, cars that don't work have been in the driveway that seem like forever, even if it's in the backyard.
Yeah.
High grass in the backyard, not cleaning the alley access in the alley. You're part of the alley. What else? Definitely, they've been enforcing the rental registrations.
Rental registration.
Definitely those.
Yeah.
The lead,
and lead.
right? Certificate of what was it?
Certificate of compliance.
Thank you. Yeah, that.
Certificate of compliance.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Registration, lead, and certificate of compliance. Those are automatic. I think I go to court for those not too often because I try to definitely encourage, but the owners that I do have that don't move fast enough.
Right.
I think I'm in blight court quite a bit for those.
And not to cut you off, but I have to put emphasis on what Marcus is saying and the fact that Ponce asked that question, because from a title standpoint, we get beat up daily on, we try to be as thorough as possible, and we probably find stuff that people don't. People get mad at us, but blights are serious right now.
Yeah.
Back in the day, probably 2 years ago, we could play around with blights. Oh, you sign a form and you deal with it later.
Yeah.
That blight shit now? No.
Listen.
Blights are serious. Listen, Linda. That part.
Let me tell you something I learned from you, Emma. And I'm gonna let everybody. This is why I love my team.
Say that part again. You learned from what? Huh?
I learned from you, Emma. In my purchase agreements, especially if it's a house in the city of Detroit, I put in the comment in the additional section, by request seller to pay any and all blight tickets assessed by the city of Detroit if applicable.
Yep.
Because number one, like you said, you and some other officers pull blight tickets. I was dealing with a suburban title company on one deal, and I put that in the purchase agreement. They were doing actually it was a title company in Flint. So they were doing a deal here in Detroit. They had no clue about blight tickets. I had to school her about pulling blight tickets. Come to find out that property had over $2,000 worth of blight tickets.
Yep.
So therefore, I saved my buyer quite a bit of money because they would have had to pay those at closing probably later on sometime in the future.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is that putting that clause in my purchase agreement saves my buyer money in the future. So I thank you for that valuable information.
Yeah, it is. We got about what is 8:36. I saw some questions. You could probably see them more than I can. Asia, did you want to run through those questions from our audience?
That drink kicking in?
For me? I'm tired.
Yeah, I
y'all.
can. Well, this one is Ponce Clay verse in property and trust.
Yes, that's part of. Well, those are two different things, but yes. If I can, just to plug real quick on this thing. Yeah, real estate law, myriad things across the board to include landlord, tenant, quiet title, property issues. Right? You sometimes various things such as encroachments. We've seen some of those things pop back up. And regarding the trust, that's more in the estate planning side of the house, or assigning certain properties in trust to be governed by the trustees. So the answer is yes. And again, if not, we cause no harm to our clients, potential clients. We'll dang sure refer you to someone who's versed in that that'll be able to help you out.
All right. Next, who sets up the escrow? I think this was in regards to the tenant escrow.
Yep.
It's the
Tenant.
kiosk.
Did you know about that?
Yeah, I'm gonna defer to the property manager in the house.
The tenant needs to set it up. They need to set it up.
Yep. Trying to see what questions we got. Ponce, I saw what you posted in the private chat, so I posted in the comments about the 36th District Court, the building, the BC, whatever, building department.
Yeah.
And I think you posted that PDF too. I posted the link for that.
Yeah, that's a pretty, the one that's a practical guide for tenants and landlords. And it's not law, but it's created by the Michigan legislature. And it really is it's a little pamphlet. And if you go through that, it's not deep. It covers everything from security deposits, what the duties are for the landlord and the tenants, recovering the security deposits, subleasing, eviction, mediation in that process, small claims court. We talked about that. What are responsibilities that are shared between the landlord and the tenant as far as maintenance of the properties, giving the landlord time to repair the doggone thing, right? So yeah, that's put out by the Michigan legislature, and it's a pretty good condensed version of things.
And going back to the escrow, if they go to the 36th District Court website, 36districtcourt.org, and look at the announcements, it was announced October 29, 2018. That the 36th District Court is the first court to join the DivDat kiosk. That's what's called DivDat kiosk network, offering no fee payment kiosks throughout Metro Detroit. So yeah, it's
kind of dope.
Yeah,
that's dope. I mean, that's some shit we ain't know. You need to repeat that again.
Mm-hmm.
Like shit. Like for real. I had no idea, and I try to be on the up.
We learn something every day.
Right.
All right. Somebody said, do you need to register as a rental, get a certificate of occupancy and lead certification while the house is still being rehab? So
is that certificate of completion or occupancy?
Well, all right, on my side, right? So you would register as a rental, I guess, that's afterwards. So this is how the permit process works to get to the COC. So I'm gonna pull building permits, my electrician gonna pull electrical, we doing any electrical work, plumber the same, heating and cooling got the same, right? So once I'm done and I get my final inspection and I get my letter of compliance from the building department, then you take that letter and then fill out your certificate of occupancy document to the city, and then they're gonna give you your COC, CFO or whatever. The certificate of compliance, I think that's what they mean by COC.
Okay.
Is what I get when I pass all my permits. And then the lead certification you would get after that. But typically, if I did a full gut, ain't no lead in there anyway, unless they catch you on the outside if we ain't do no exterior work. So that's
now
like
you said you doing a full gut as a GC, or
yeah.
I'm just trying to be clear for the audience.
Oh, my bad. Yeah, so if I do a full gut, that's taking it all the way down to the studs, that's the wood frame, and then putting it back to today's 2021 code.
So someone hiring you, someone that own the property, I'm the owner of the property, but I'm not doing my own work. I'm hiring you as my general contractor or my rehabber to come in and do the work for me.
Yeah, right? I can do that. Right.
I'm trying to clear the question here.
Oh, my bad. Yeah. So the lead certification is something separate. That's like after all of that's passed, then you pay another fee. I think it's like $150, or at least that's what it was pre-COVID. And then they come and then pass that, and now you got a full lead cert. But if I did a full gut, you're not gonna have no lead in the inside. Where they'll catch you on the lead will be in the outside of the house. Because when I do a full gut, I'm replacing all window sills, window trim, like everything is brand new. So they'll catch you on the outside in the windows if it's painted and you ain't doing the windows with aluminum flashing. Because aluminum, they can't test that because it's aluminum. So they'll catch you on that. The garage, if you still got an old wood frame garage and you ain't want to buy inside it, they'll catch you on that. And they'll catch you on the dirt because they going to test the dirt. So most people only want to go down, I think Cole, you're supposed to go down 6 inches, dig that up and replace it. I go down a foot and then I put mulch on top. If I put mulch on top, then they're going to even test it. So you got to do that all around the side of the house and then all around the garage, then you'll be straight.
What is the purpose of the mulch?
They won't test it and it looks nice.
Again, that superpower that she brings and the knowledge of this place, that other folks will find themselves, with a headache.
Yep.
So as a property manager, yes, you do need to register the property. If it's currently vacant, first you start off with a vacant registration, do your repairs. You can still get the certificate of compliance and still have a lead assessment done. If it is currently rented, you would then register it as a rental property, still do the certificate of compliance and still do a lead inspection. And we're not going to go into detail if it is traces of lead, because then that's going to cost you a little bit more money. You would then have to put the tenant pretty much in a hotel until it has been clear for them to go back to the property.
And,
now, also, won't they accept for the lead inspection the Section 8 inspection?
No.
They won't?
No, those are 2 different inspections.
I also use these things that we speak about sometimes, depending on which side of the deal I'm on, as leverage or concessions as well.
Correct.
Depending on who's going to get or pay or buy subject to and things like that. So, especially if nobody's in there. So that.
Yes, I am.
I just had a question sent to me by text. One of our listeners asked, how are people asking questions? So we got someone that's listening in the audience. What should they do? Just text their question or what?
Well, people asking them in the live chat, so we answering those. Like those get priority because they're here. Or if you send a non-refundable donation.
The live chat. So they just need to type it in the chat right there.
Yep. All right, Marcus, are you hiring agents?
Yes, and yes.
All right, his contact info is in the caption. Somebody said everybody must be drunk. Ain't nobody typing but me. All right, what does the law say about security deposits being held by the landlord? That's a good question.
That's right there. I think you already put it in the comments. The practical guide for tenants and landlords. It literally breaks it down real quick on what the requirements are both ways.
Good answer.
But is that your money?
That's right. That too.
No balling up. There's nothing like straight real estate
or money yet.
Definite about the Detroit real estate is like it's its own niche. Like we really got some dope stuff here. Like it's our own thing. Go ahead, Emma.
I got a question going back to that whole security deposit. We see a lot of, we don't get into it because it's not our area and we're not attorneys. No, we're not from a title perspective, but folks come in and they send us a lease and they're like, in the lease, it shows that it was a security deposit and it was their first month's rent or whatever they do. And then, so the new buyer is saying, I want rent proration and I want the security deposit credit. And the seller comes back and say, oh, there's no more security deposit. We used it to make up a late rent or to do yada, yada, yada. Can they legally, and I got you. I'm listening. But can they legally do that? It was a security deposit. No. What is the definition of a security deposit? The purpose.
I want to quote a chapter and verse. I'll give you that definition. I don't have it by heart. I need to be able to share that with you. But the security deposit is frankly just that. After we terminated our lease, and you return the inspection. I do the post inspection, normal wear and tear, or any type of damage that you've done. All right, but even then, you have to be able to demonstrate that, and then that's when that'll be applied. but it's not owned by the landlord. It's actually, you actually supposed to tell them where it's deposited and things like that.
Yes.
Right? And then as far as the resident, you really can't say, well, yeah, just take that from and don't pay the last month's rent either. So yeah, that's the answer.
So it's what it is. It's a security deposit, and it's supposed to be available from one owner to the next as a transfer to that owner for when the tenant leaves, and they now have a security deposit to handle whatever exit provisions there are.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
That's what you just said.
They can only charge it for 1.5 months security deposit.
That's right.
1.5 months. So not last month's rent plus. I love that. But can I get last month's rent? Were they there last month? No.
Yeah, I hear that. They collect first month's, last month's,
and a security deposit. No.
All right.
What they did?
Let me get off my soapbox. Y'all got more questions.
It's all right. All right. What is the best method to find good tenants?
Use a property manager.
Mortgage.
There we go.
And you know what I say a lot. I'm serious only because I pay for a software that tells me, and this is a perfect example. I had someone apply for a property. They filled out the application and they used I'm assuming a social security number or whatever it was. But anyway, the software that I used, the software I used let me know that number one, the social security number did not match the identity of the person that was applying, and secondly, that it was the social security number of a deceased person.
Girl, no. What?
Yeah. So here's the other thing, and this is from my banking knowledge. When I used to work at the bank and open accounts and stuff, everybody's social security number has a certain digits, and it starts with the region in which they were born or where they were born. So most people in Detroit is like 36, 38, 37, something like that.
Yeah.
South is like maybe 2 something. But anyway, those are things that you have to look at. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like you should, if you don't want to get a property manager, then use some type of legitimate software that you can purchase in order to run these background checks. But I mean, at the end of the day, you have to have an application that allows you to, or they give you the permission in order to run their credit and any other consumer reporting information too. So
at the end of the day, it's basically get a good property manager.
Basically, I mean, unless you want to keep, the software that we pay for,
or be like me,
have a massive number of applications that you're processing versus just 1 or 2 every now and then.
Gotcha.
That is a service that we do offer a la carte. So. And for those who don't know what a la carte means, it's individual based. If you just want that service.
A different cup over here at a different price.
A la carte is Lucy.
A Lucy, thank you. That's what it is. If you just want a Lucy service,
did you just say a Lucy?
It is. A la carte is a Lucy for people from Detroit. They know.
Okay, yeah. If you want a Lucy service, we do offer that. All I need to do is just screen them for you. I do that quite often. Some people just be like, I just want you to screen them. Okay, that's what I'll do. I send you the report. You send me my money. We good.
See? So that's what we do when we just give an LDR instead of a full search. I'm giving you a Lucy.
Yeah, you get a Lucy.
Right, a Lucy. You do house demolition? Nope, too much liability.
Yeah, it's a lot of liability there.
Whole lot. You got lead,
the adjacent houses, the cover up. Yeah.
I don't do no structure.
Asia, what's the a benchmark for a benchmark cost right now for demolition in Detroit? A basic 800 square foot, 900 square foot bungalow. The basic kind of house of Detroit.
On the low end, I've seen 28,000. I done seen 45,000.
Wow. Okay.
And the thing is, and when you ask that, we've seen those when the city used to come through
for 8,000
demolition, and then they put it on the tax roll. Now this was some time back, but you could see easily 25,000.
Yeah, because I remember when when my first house that I bought burnt down, they held about $8,000 to the demo, and it was probably about a 1,500 square foot house on the east side. But now,
yeah.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
No, I'm just saying, but now when I did call for demolition costs, it was, and like I said, it was at least a minimum $25,000.
Yeah. And you know, and back in the day when the city did them, it used to be on the city level. So you know, even though the taxes were transferred and all this other stuff, this was something from the city of Detroit itself, not a transfer to Wayne County and all that other nonsense. And it was a city demolition assessment.
And here's the other thing that most people don't know too about demolitions is you have to call and pay to have the utilities disconnected from the property first. They pay for that. So it's not just the demolition cost. Oh, I'm done. They're gonna come and tear it down. Like, it's other stuff associated with it. Like,
make sure that gas ain't popping off.
Yeah, the gas, the water,
they gotta come and mark out everything.
Yeah.
And protect the adjacent housing and stuff.
That too.
Yeah,
like, I was like, Jesus.
And I think they gotta get notices too, because you know that's lead paint up in there, asbestos.
Yep.
And
they
if
had
it's
to
close
notify.
to a school, if it's close to a school, I think it's even more involved because of when you tear it down, what could shift off that debris and other stuff, if I remember correctly.
Yep, too much liability for me.
Emma, what is if you don't mind sharing with the audience and me, I'll get clarification. There was, typical foreclosure, correct? Sheriff's deed, the purchase of sheriff's deed, the people redeemed the property within 180 days, right? Essentially what they did is actually put it on the market to sell it, right? And then the person that bought the sheriff's deed, that third party, it wasn't the mortgage company, didn't want to come to closing. And if I remember correctly, the title company closed in escrow. What is that about and how does that work?
Wait a minute.
I'm confused.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm probably saying it. Is there such thing as closing in escrow?
With a sheriff's deed?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
No. If I'm understanding your question correctly, because if it's the sheriff's deed, most of the time, they have the 6 months. They have the 6 month redemption.
Right.
And then the various cities have the auction. So
Correct.
where they're auctioning off the note, if you will, to make it simpler for folks. So you got the guys to come in and buy the note. So now they've stepped into the shoes as the lender. So that 6 month is still running, but you got the owner that still has time to pay it off, but they're now not paying the lender. They're paying the guy that stepped in and purchased the note. That new lender.
Correct.
It's really no escrow because at the end of the day, you give us a payoff. You tell us what we need to pay. And either we're paying that in full and you're getting your money immediately, or there's no close.
Thank you.
So unless I'm missing something.
I probably you explained it that way. I used the wrong term. It's just I remember the person that stepped in the lender's shoes because it was in a quote unquote up and coming place, and they did not expect my client the
redeem it.
Your buyer to be able to redeem if you your owner to be able to redeem the
and we in fact redeemed plus more. We put it on the open market for sale. And they were dodging. And
now,
I actually had that happen twice. The new lender or the owner of the note did not want to do a payoff. Like he kept giving other options, like, well, do they rent the property? I was like, well, first of all, you don't own it. They still own the property. You just own the note as of right now until after that. But the attorney that I worked with at the time was like, listen, if you don't give us a payoff, then we're going to have to sue you for pretty much 3 times more for damages.
Damages.
But here's the thing with that. If you read the foreclosure mortgage, the sheriff's deed is the last page, and I have to give a shout out to my partner Davin. We've been rocking for 17 years and longer. He educated me on this. The sheriff's deed itself on that last page talks about the per diem.
Yes.
The payoff amount.
Okay.
Those certain times. So you're going to have those guys that have stepped into the shoes as the note holder. And again, I'm not an attorney, but you're going to have those that have stepped in the shoes as the note holder, and they're dodging and they're dodging and they're dodging. But the information that you need is right in the sheriff's deed.
Okay.
And, and from the county, I can't speak for Oakland County, but I can speak for Wayne County. Once you calculate those per diems and you come up with that payoff amount and your client are still within their 6 months and you can collect, you can go and surrender that to Wayne County.
Yeah, you can.
And they will take care of it from there.
Right. Yeah, you're absolutely.
So,
Yeah. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
I think I'm about to go on and start charging more for my damn services. Let me get some more jokes.
I've been saying that.
Lord have mercy. But no, really, real talk. There's no such thing as dodging. There's always a way. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, and before COVID, it was popular. The guys was running down to the various counties and they was buying them. You know, they was bidding and winning those auctions, and we get it. And you did have some guys that were dodging, but the paperwork is recorded. Here's the payoff amount. Here's what's needed within that 6 months. Here's what the per diem is. Keep dodging if you want to. We're going to take it right on down to the county.
Right.
You know, so.
And redeem it. Yeah.
Yep. If I'm answering your question.
No, you are. Thank you. Appreciate
Keep dodging if you want to. We're going to take it right on down to the county.
Right.
You know, so.
And redeem it. Yeah.
Yep. If I'm answering your question.
No, you are. Thank you.
Why
Who did that back?
Who got YouTube in the back?
I don't know.
Not me.
Not me. You got a question right there before we get.
How much do property managers charge typically? Typically, we start off at a negotiated rate. Across most people will probably start off at about 10%, but again, this is real estate and everything's negotiable. It depends on the type of service that you need. So don't take 10% as a hard number. Again, whoever you choose as a property manager, it should be a negotiation. If it's not, then you have to just see if it's anybody else you want to talk to. My company in particular, we do a la carte services. I have plenty of people that say, listen, I got a team of people that will repair, that will handle all the service calls. I just need for you to be the point of contact for somewhere for them to drop their rent off for a local person, boots on the ground. Oh, and some people are like, I need you to do everything. So we go full service or a la carte.
All right.
All right, we got one more question. Oh no, we already answered that one. Oh, here we go. Did Wayne County resume sheriff sales?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
I don't think so. I ain't heard nothing about it if they had.
I can look it up and give.
Are they for real going to foreclose on these taxes this year?
Yeah. They've already started. You seen them yellow, blue, and purple and pink stickers?
Yeah, I mean that don't mean anything. I mean it does,
Yeah.
but
I think they are.
Well, I don't know with the Biden just they extended something to June. I think that's mortgage payments though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I think it's just gonna be more challenging because of the way that you have to do foreclosure with the certified mailings, the in-person file, you know, the in-person service, the advertising. So it may just be a little bit more challenging because of COVID and stuff. And then of course on the back end trying to insure. But
well, I'm screaming COVID if they trying to cancel, if they trying to take my stuff. COVID took my house. COVID took my house.
yeah, so you know when don't come talking about can y'all insure 20? Nope, we're not insuring shit. So don't follow quiet. His phone number is
I just need you to record my 92 Ds I sent over there.
dog.
Yeah.
We'll talk after offline with
Thanks.
that.
All right, we got a couple on Instagram too because it's 9 o'clock. So how much is your full service? I guess that's to Marcus.
10%. 10% of the rent collected. So if it's $800 a month, it'd be $80 a month.
All right. How do you choose between selling versus renting a paid for house? I can tell you how I decide. The comp's gonna decide. That's how Balfour end up not getting rented and about to go on the market.
Yeah, I mean it's a conversation you just have to have with yourself. I mean, do you want to keep it within yourself, your family, whatever? Then maybe renting it might work. I put it like this: I always ask all the parties involved. Like if it's a family home, majority of the time renting it does not usually work out too well because $800 a month split between 5 people is not much, and everybody gonna feel like they need more money. So sometimes it does benefit you depending upon the family structure. If you're going to sell, just split it, be done with it, and whomever else can go buy their own rental properties with their proceeds, or renting the house for a significant amount of money. But
or place that bad boy, arm's length transaction, place it for sale, and everybody have an equal opportunity to buy it if they need to. But in there, what's the agreement?
That's true.
Yeah,
that's true too.
We're gonna answer a couple Instagram questions. So, one, do you know which banks let you close in your LLC?
I believe that any of them will let you close
Mm-mm.
in your
Mm-mm.
LLC, right?
Mm-mm. Nope.
Okay.
Nope. Nope. We just had the majority of the banks, depending on your LLC and if it's an
I don't
investment
know if y'all can
and
hear.
your history of being able to maintain an investment. But if you're signing as a guarantor and other things, a lot of the banks want you to take it out of your LLC, put it in your individual name, give you a loan, and then you can put it back. We just did two like that this week.
Okay.
That's been my experience for the years. There are some banks that will, your lending home, maybe your Kogos, those guys, if we're talking investment. But most banks,
But those are
again,
not like FDIC backed banks for the most part.
depending on your credit and your full portfolio. I mean, if your LLC is established, you might be able to. But if you are up and coming, deuces. If you are up and coming and you're the guarantor for that loan, they're probably going to want you to pull it out of the LLC, put it in your name, and then go back. Now, to get you some banks that we've dealt with in the past, if Asia make a note, I can, upload it on my site or our site here at a later time for who we dealt with over the last 90 days. But I just did 3 this week where they had to take it out of their LLC, put it in their name, close on the loan, and these were investment properties, and then go back.
I think you should get those banks at the Mastermind.
We okay. Yeah, she's saying basically we got to pay for that.
Basically.
That's what she was saying.
Somebody said y'all came to Brooklyn, it was lit. Dog, yeah, that's been 2 years. It showed.
Yeah.
I tagged y'all, man. That was crazy.
That's our third home.
Right. We're gonna be back whenever this stuff get together. What other questions we got? Is that the lady that came to Brooklyn? Yup. Yup, you. I'm glad you're still making progress despite COVID. Facts. Oh, here we go. Do you just construct houses only? What if I wanted to do buildings as well, like skyscrapers? That's way beyond my level. Could I if I found a good subcontractor to sub to, yeah, I can build anything.
Let me correct her. That's beyond her level right now. It's never beyond her level.
That's why you
next year, that's what she's gonna be doing.
Fancy.
Because this year we building this back office. Like, I'm gonna be hiring for an office manager soon and a project manager.
That's my job.
And then
I'm tired of somebody answering the phone. What's your job, Marcus?
I'm just bullshit. I got enough going on.
So you gonna answer the phone?
Hell no. I barely answer my own phone.
I'm tired of answering the phone. I'm like, dang, which is
I
a good
have
thing.
Morgan, y'all. Morgan answered my phone.
Tell Morgan stop sending me the voicemail. When she see my name, she need to.
Right, she need to let us
know. No. That don't be Morgan. It don't make it to Morgan. That be me.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Oh. Looks like I'm going to start making trips to Dearborn more often.
All right. Do GCs set their clients up on scheduled payments until the rehab is completed? Yes. So I do draw payments. It depends on the size of the contract. So if it's 100,000, I'm gonna do like 30% up front, then divide the rest or whatever. But I always hold 20% until the final inspection comes. So you never pay me all at once. Who's the property manager? That's Marcus Twyman. His IG is Opulent Realty Team.
That me.
Company. We need to do a mastermind in BK. Hey, I'm down. Y'all down to go?
Absolutely.
I think they want you to come too, Ponce, because you the law.
I'm here.
I think that's all the questions. So
I think we got the Fantastic Four now.
Dig it.
Right, we got everybody now.
Yeah.
We was messing with the law.
That's it, the law that backs up all of this.
You the law now,
I'm with it. Like they say in Texas, I'm the laws.
I mean, we got room. We might have to add from the Florida too.
Okay. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, no problem. I mean, again, thanks for the opportunity. And we did some business together, so I was ready to rock straight up. You walked me down the line and taught me things on a few things I had in line too as well. So I'm with it. And I damn sure can appreciate a good property manager. Hey, pay the cost, pay. Because I don't need you calling me for real. Hey, I just wanted to hit when I'm supposed to hit. And then as far as that title work, I damn sure don't need nothing popping up later on that. I want that done and good to go.
Or you can become a junior examiner. Like I gave myself a new junior examiner. I got that title, so you can become like me. Yeah.
I don't know what the question was, but do not become a damn junior examiner. Get on my last nerve.
All right, I'm gonna take this one last one. All right, Asia, how was the water issue that took place in Flint? To my knowledge, they still repairing it. That's gonna take some years.
It is. But you know what the surprising part about it is that I ain't gonna say surprising, but the unfortunate part, it was mostly in the urban area, the extreme urban areas where it was really affected. Because when I used to go to Flint a lot, because I manage in Flint and Saginaw, downtown Flint was fine.
Mm-hmm.
Like I used to ask them, well, down in the municipal center, hey, y'all got bottled water and stuff down here? They're like, no, our water is fine. Good to know.
Just a caveat, and I'm sure people know, but both of those towns got a nice little river running through in downtown too.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And remember years ago that there was a certain city we all lived in and had a river running down, and folks didn't even want to touch stuff down there. And now you can't even get us. Well, I ain't gonna count y'all big money, but you can't even get a corner on it right now.
I can't get a corner.
Hey, yeah, it's a river going through there. Period. It might be on fire, but it's a river.
Thanks. Well, thank y'all for tuning in with me again, Emma, Marcus, and Ponce. I definitely appreciate y'all as always.
Thank you.
Any church announcements? Let's see what church announcements we got. The event is in June. Mastermind and webinar link is gonna be in the description to purchase your tickets. We have early bird webinar tickets at $99, and I forgot what regular price is. In person is $750. For early bird, regular I think is $1,000. With the in-person mastermind in Orlando, you get a title search from Emma, a copy of Marcus. What you doing? Your lease agreement. I'm offering a 20-minute consult plus all my ebooks and access to my credit card class. And I don't know if Ponce gonna offer, but we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
Please come out to Orlando. We always have a good time. So
Good time. Y'all be with us the whole day. If you do the in-person mastermind, your answers or questions will get answered first over everybody online. So that's dope. We also doing a tour. This will be the 4th year, Marcus?
Yes,
Yep.
it was the 4th year for our real estate, our Detroit real estate tour, the Real Detroit tour.
Yep.
Please make your way out to that. We have a
It is fun.
Great time.
I like the food. The food is good.
Yeah.
You don't like the information? You just like the food?
Just like black people.
That part too. What they just
Just like black people. So yeah, we're doing the tour. That's in August. I think it's the 2nd or the 3rd weekend, but all the links will be in the description box. Early bird for those 2, hotel included, food included. All you got to do is get here, and we got you from there. So, Y'all got any church announcements?
No, I'm good right now. I think the next thing I'll be doing is let's talk about it. Probably the last Monday of the month, where it's going to be from a title perspective versus an attorney perspective. So we're going to be talking about quiet titles. We're going to be talking about probates. We're going to be talking about where the attorneys come in with the LLCs, and we're coming in and saying, nope, that's not what we need. This is what we need. It'll be like that. So stay tuned for that flyer next week.
Yeah. Ponce, you got any church announcements? Was he muted?
Yeah, there we go. I said, yeah. Being proactive in estate planning is not as tough and it's not as hard as you think. It impacts everyone. And if you take that time ahead of time, it really does. You can maintain the hard work, the wealth, and the equity that folks have worked really hard for people here. So, that's one of the things that I also want to dive in as well, being proactive in some of that estate planning.
For sure.
Yeah. And resolving the estate and probate matters once we, if that happens.
Do you have a price list for all your stuff, or everything is however you do it?
However I do it, but what I generally try to do to maintain and expectations with my clients is once I assess what they have, is I do flat rates. Right. That's what I try to, I try to do that, even though I could do per hour. You know how it is. A lot of times it's not really what they think. They think you slow rolling them. That's okay. But if I assess sort of like a quote, right? When you quote from work. So I'm getting, if I'm pretty good at quoting, this is what it's going to cost us to kind of work we're going to have to do, then I'm able to give a flat rate to maintain sense and expectations as we do the work.
All right. Oh, I forgot to add my cousin. She'll be doing the. Dang, what Ebony do?
The home health care,
Home
right?
health care.
Yeah, home health care. With the
Damn shame. Damn what Ebony do.
I know, right? I know they do a lot of stuff, so I'm trying to remember what she do then. But she'll be there too on the webinar and the mastermind too, talking about adult foster care. That's the proper term.
Yes, adult foster care.
Yeah.
What's next week? What's next month's
Topic.
I think Marcus is up next. Let me look at my calendar.
I thought I was there long.
That's gonna be soon as we come back from Cabo.
Cabo.
I don't know nothing about that. Y'all be leaving.
I'm gonna lay on the beach like a fat black whale. I'm telling
We'll
you.
write your name in the sand and we'll send you a picture.
What is this? Y'all
I sent you an email. Ponce got it. I sent it to you, Ponce, Charles,
Yeah.
to a lot of people. So I don't know who all going until they show up.
When is Cabo?
March 8th through the 13th.
Oh, that's like right around the corner. I don't know if I could do it. Oh, you know what? I can't. I gotta go have surgery.
Surgery
on these eyes. Yeah.
We'll talk about that. So that's why she don't be seeing our text, Marcus. All right, so
you thought it was me coming for you tonight. It wasn't.
Nah, it's okay. It's okay. I got my girl up tonight.
You got your goggle.
The next one is March 19th, and the topic is how to invest in Detroit the right way. Basically, how to find tenants. So that's Marcus.
Okay.
Oh, that's Marcus?
Yep.
Okay.
And I think I'm April with how to rehab.
Okay. All right then.
Oh, Marcus, what's your church announcements?
Everybody be safe. Please be patient with this inclement weather we're having everywhere across the country.
Especially Texas, man. Like, y'all be safe down there.
Listen, I'm gonna say something. Somebody gonna be real mad. But I always laugh at all the Texas.
Don't say it.
Whatever. I always laugh. All the Texas people always laugh at us about our weather.
Thanks.
Our friend today, and I was like, "How does it feel to be in the snow?" Because he's one of them that always talk mess about Detroit and the snow.
Oh, we've been tagging each other on Instagram. I was like, "This how we do in the snow. Look at us, still frolicking
Hey,
down the street.
don't stop, no show.
Don't
At all. Nothing.
You gotta leave early and leave your 2 cars in between people."
Yeah, but I do feel sorry for people that are experiencing those things because it's unexpected, and I see it has been a lot of property damage down there because, of course, it wasn't ready for it or built for it.
Yeah, so that's really what it is. All right, well, I think that's it, y'all. Thanks for tuning in. It's 9:14, so have a great night.
All right,
Do this.
bye.
Next time.
All right, let me end broadcast.